Wishing for a Christmas mortgage miracle? Patriot Trading Group wants to make your wish come true. Just enter to win on Family Values Radio website, and you can enjoy having your mortgage paid for a year. That's right. It's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. The winner will receive their mortgage or rent payments covered for a year. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. Enter once each day to increase your chances to win, and look for bonus entry opportunities. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com. And enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, sponsored by Patriot Trading Group. See our website for details.
Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and we're back here on a Monday. The weekend never lasts long enough, does it? Just flew by this weekend. I hope you all had a great one. I was able to get out on the golf course yesterday. The weather's been fantastic. It's actually still pretty warm here in the Valley of the Sun, but this is the best time of year for us. This is you can tell the snowbirds are coming back. Traffic's filling back up again, but maybe what we need to do is, since the government just wants to hand people money, maybe another idea is people should only work 4 days a week, but get paid for 5. Why not, right? A 4 for 5 type of a deal. Today, I only bring that up because today I think it was Chicago and L.A. Just started their let's just give people money, the lottery, if you will. If you were poor enough in those cities, you potentially could get a check from the government for doing absolutely nothing. Speaking of a guy who does a whole lot more than absolutely nothing, he's always busy. My partner in crime, the man that runs Colorado, Jason Walker. Jason, good morning. You're ready for another week?
I think so, Joe. I think so. I was caught off guard by all the little things to start the week. You come in, you think, okay, you got your idea of the things you're going to plan out and do, and then suddenly it's like, okay, there's a problem on this thing. I got to fix this thing over here, and it's just wild. I shows at least that I could shut off for the weekend, Joe, because if I would have thought about this over the weekend,
I probably would have. What do you think about my idea? The government should pay us for a 5th day of work. Listen, if they're going to pay people to do nothing, what about the people that actually do something?
Well, I'm not a big socialist, so I'd rather the government stop paying anybody.
That would be the right answer. But it is amazing. Nobody really paying attention. Are people paying attention? Here's the problem. There's people out there that actually think that's a good idea.
Yes. Oh, yes. There's. I would say the majority of Americans actually believe this is a good idea, Joe. The majority.
You think it's a majority, really?
Yeah.
You really, I know that there's people, just blindly, hey, whatever the Republicans say, I follow. Whatever the Democrats say, I follow. But really, you think a majority of them? Yes, that's a great idea. Let's just give people some money for doing nothing.
I just watched a video version of Brave New World, and man, are we closer to that than people realize. And yes, people want free. They want free stuff. They want everything provided for them.
It's free, the word free. We don't like to use that word here at Patriot Trading Group. If a gold dealer out there is offering you free something, they're probably robbing you in the process. But our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The Democrats gave up a little bit. They have passed the original infrastructure bill, the $1.2 trillion. This is not the human infrastructure bill. The one that started at 3.5. Then it went to 2.5. Then it went to 2. Now nobody can agree on anything. That's not that one. But the first half of quote-unquote Build Back Better, Jason, got passed, sent to the president. More government spending on the way.
Yeah, that's one thing I saw, and I mentioned to you this morning, is they didn't really call it Build Back Better so much, but as soon as somebody passed part of it, it was like, oh, Build Back Better is ready. We're ready to do it. And it's like, wow, that the language of these things change as soon as they get passed. So it's I was looking at it, Joe. It looks like not very much of that $1.2 trillion is really going to infrastructure. It looks like the majority of it is like slush fund money, like $700 billion is slush fund, just going to sit there for whoever wants it. It's yeah.
You know what's amazing is look at crude oil as an example today. Crude oil's up. The reason why crude oil's up today is when you actually look at what's in the bill, you realize that they seemingly, and again, they're laying out this plan. Here's what you need to prepare for. Much, much higher gasoline and energy prices, much higher heating prices. If you live in the wrong parts of the country, and by wrong parts of the country, places that you'll get unexpected cold snaps or unexpected heat waves, prepare to have rolling blackouts. These are going to now be the norms, Jason.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I call it false scarcity because this is these power monsters that run this thing. There's no scarcity. There's no shortages. But when we're altering to this great reset or whatever they're going to call this thing, this up and down boom and bust cycle that we're endlessly in, they create false scarcity. I don't believe it's happening on accident. It's a purposeful move, Joe, and that's why I got into gold and silver.
Yeah, you're just looking into all the things that are in the new infrastructure bill. There's taxes on cryptocurrencies. There's the roads and bridges, which only get a little over $100 billion of the whole $1.2 trillion bill. And public transit gets $39 billion. Amtrak. You want to know what government spending can do? Just look at Amtrak. That's all. That's the biggest money pit ever. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker. We're looking in this bill. And again, right? Hey, to know what's in it, you first got to pass it so you can actually read it, right? Amazing in here. So we give a little over $100 billion for roads and bridges. The other part, airports, they got $25 billion, Jason, for the airports. But apparently they know that the airports need $115 billion. But let's just give them $25 billion. In the meantime, they gave $65 billion to what they're calling the broadband internet, the American Rescue Plan. Yes, because apparently we all need to look at porn faster. That's what has to be. And also, the real culprit in this, and this is, they make this, it's the rural areas, and we got to get, complete coverage. Didn't you actually read the bill? I know that's the hard part, right? Now, most people can't read. Just look at the kids graduating from Baltimore public schools. 1 in 4 households in this bill now are going to get subsidized for their internet. Yep, that they're only going to have to pay $30. So again, we know who this is, right? If you don't work, you're not being a productive member of society. Here's another handout, right? We'll have to pay full boat for the internet. They'll only have to pay $30. How about the electric grid? Right? They're getting ready, and this is their clean energy measures. By the way, $65 billion for the broadband internet. Another $65 billion for the quote-unquote clean energy grid, which is going to subsidize payments to build, solar, wind, and all those other things. But they're not done there. Another $7.5 billion for electric cars, buses, and ferries. $48 billion for the water infrastructure improvements. $1 billion of that going to the Great Lakes. Road safety, Jason, gets $11 billion. And that's just to name a few of them. How about this one? This one I really liked. $70 billion in COVID relief. That is going to give the Democrats the ability to give more money to universities and things of that nature, I guess, to help with their electrical transportation system. Just to name a few things, Jason, that are in this plan.
Just a whole lot of money that's going to be against the citizens. Every time they pass this, Joe, they can post whatever happy little thing on whatever title, but it's not going to be good for us, Joe. Just look at the world the last couple of years. More of this is what it looks like they're going to be paying for.
And this is why, when you actually read in here, you're understanding why is oil up today? Why would natural gas be up today? You would think, hey, there's going to be infrastructure. We're going to increase things. No, absolutely not. This bill is just, how about this? Secure geologic storage permitting, $50 million. 4 regional carbon capture hubs, $3.5 billion. 4 regional clean hydrogen hubs, $8 billion. Clean hydrogen manufacturing and recycling programs. I didn't know you could recycle hydrogen. $500 million. Clean hydrogen electrolysis program. $1 billion. And again, the bulk of this, a bunch of handouts to pay for things that really simply, when you're looking at where we are today, are going to make things actually more expensive, Jason.
That's correct. I mean, they already admitted that this isn't even fully funded yet. This whole thing. There's billions of dollars of unfunded part of this, which the whole idea when they first talked about it was, well, this would be fully funded. It's not, which means they'll print it and then they'll be added to the debt, and then that'll be higher interest payments essentially to the Fed, and those up by our debt. And it's more expensive for everyone. If taxes go up, it's everything else just becomes more expensive with it, Joe.
How about this one? So, and again, Jason brings up a point. This bill not the human infrastructure, which was the one they were trying to claim was going to be fully paid for. This one is not. $75 million. I like this one. This is a good one. For having a study. They're going to pay $75 million for a quote-unquote study to enact income-based road usage fees. Let me say that again. $75 million for a study. I'll tell you what. I'll do it for $70 million. Right? For a study on how to enact income-based road usage fees. Now, what could that possibly mean? What is that telling you? Because right now, how do we pay for the roads? Gasoline tax. That's how you pay for roads. Well, and of course, and then government spending like this, we throw another $110 billion at it. But now they're saying, and I've been trying to remind everyone, listen, by 2035, pretty much every car produced is going to be electric. Because that's what they want. Now, it actually can't be done, but who cares about that? But that would mean, what? You're not paying the gasoline tax. So there's got to be another way to pay for it. And so what they want to do is, the simplest thing would be pay for usage, right? Well, every year you got to bring your electric car in for quote-unquote emissions. No, they just check the mileage. hey, last year your car had 20,000 miles. This year it's got 40,000. That means you drove 20,000 miles, and here's your tax. Right? So the more you drive, the more you pay. That would be the fair thing to do, right, Jason?
That seems pretty logical.
Pretty logical. Hey, pay for what you use. Oh, no, we can't do that. We got to figure out how can we make it so only some people have to pay for it. Wow. And I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's just how the new government is operating. And this is stuff, again, this is in the bill. This is absolutely in the bill. And this is what their plan is going to be, right? This is how they anticipate getting ready to pay for the lack of the gasoline tax. Here's the funny thing. Electric bills are probably going to be double or triple what they are now. If that wasn't bad enough just to charge your car. Right? Now on top of it, they've got to figure out a way to pay for the loss of the gasoline tax. But again, this is, should we be, I don't know, and $75 million for the study? Really? We can't do it for less than that? I mean, it truly is incredible. But again, get ready. I don't know how this is all going to work out. I really don't. I mean, I would imagine at these charging stations, couldn't they come up with a way to read your odometer, and then when you're at the charging station, they can say, well, if you want to charge up your car here, here's your road tax fee this week. But, I don't know. Why not just make it free for certain people, and everybody else will just have to spend their money, Jason?
Yeah, if we had a fair money system, Joe, then these states would take care of themselves. And if you lived in a state that was doing poorly, you move to a state that's doing good. The budget would be created by the Treasury for things, and they could print their own money. This is the whole thing is they're not printing the money. The Treasury's not controlling this. It's the Fed, a private company who we have to borrow the money from. So yeah, Joe, I don't think they'd be spending $70-something million dollars on studies if the citizens actually had to, if they had no gain from it, from those powers that be that run this government, which is the Fed and these corporations.
Mandatory state promotion of electric vehicles and charging infrastructure, right? So that's in the bill, right? You got to have that. Right, hey, listen, we gotta come out and make sure the states say good things about going electric, whether they believe it or not. It's the old, hey, we're only gonna give you money if you do what we want you to do, and right now we want you to promote electric vehicles. There's so many things.
Brian sent me one of those memes during the Friday fake news Friday show, and it showed the charging stations in a parking lot that was flooded. I was like, yeah, this doesn't lead to bad ideas, bad things happening. This whole parking lot.
Maybe a little shock, when you plug it in. Do not plug in electricity in standing water, right, Jason?
Yeah, that's why do I feel like if we go to this brave new world, that there's going to be a lot of people suffering a lot of mistakes that were not thought through properly. It's going to happen.
How about this one? $500 million for Healthy Streets program.
Healthy Streets?
Yes. Yep. Healthy Streets. What's a healthy street? Apparently a street with a tree planted on it.
Oh, no.
$500 million for healthy streets. Okay. I don't know. This is too much government. This is why, think about everything out there, Jason. I mean, it's crazy what's happening and how inflation is running wild. And really, this is the plan they came up with. And here's the funny part. Remember, this bill was originally like $2 trillion. So, thankfully, they only spent 1.2.
Well, why do I feel like 1.2 is the original goal? You don't start with the small number, Joe. You start with the big number.
Oh, that's absolutely. I mean, that's how. Let's face it. Isn't that how it works up there? Hey, listen, we want $1 trillion, so let's say we want 3, and then we'll pretend that we negotiated, and that way the quote unquote hawks can say, look at what we stopped them from doing. This thing is just littered.
You can act like a victim.
Pet project.
You propose $3 trillion, and when you go all the way down to 1.2, you act like a victim that you got totally railroaded because man, they got us all the way down to 1.2. Don't you feel bad for us, man? We just got railroaded by these Republicans.
Yes, I'm sure the squad was not happy. And again, we think infrastructure. You think roads. You think bridges. You think airports. You think ports. Notice how I didn't tell you how much money they were spending in the ports. Because it's hardly anything. And when we sit there and we look at $1.2 trillion in spending and only the 0.2 actually went to things that most of us would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's infrastructure. And then we find out the other trillion, right, just went to a bunch of pet projects and promoting our green energy and all these other things, and it's spending that didn't need to happen. That is, again, no return on investment for the American public. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
Sir. Yes, ma'am, back. I'd be darned.
800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. I guess it could be worse, Jason. We're talking about us spending $1.2 trillion. Here's what they said. They said that allegedly to get to this zero emission where the temperature doesn't rise due to, I guess, greenhouse gases, if you will. Which, again, no one actually can prove that that's the case, but that's okay. And let's not forget that, like 50 years ago, do you know what they were trying to combat? Was the temperatures getting too cold. Shh. Don't say that out loud. That's right. Follow the science 50 years ago. The big issue wasn't too hot. It was too cold. Of course, now we're at too hot. And now they're saying that they're going to need $150 trillion over the next 3 decades to achieve that goal, Jason. But don't worry. It won't be that inflationary. It'll be fine.
I think it's going to be tremendously inflationary. I mean, it's and I don't know what the end goal is because they know when to taper. They can raise the rates. There can be a huge market crash, but I think the inflation at some point will stop. It happened in the 70s. I think people that were living through the 70s inflation, they probably got pretty panicked and pretty worried about what was happening, Joe. But it did come to an end. What is that going to look like, Joe? What is the plan? There's always a plan, right? What is that going to end up?
Oh, let me tell you. That's a great question. Maybe we should listen to what Al Gore was saying at the Paris Accord. What are they calling this thing anyway? They call this the COP26 is the summit that was there in Scotland. Here's what Al Gore says the plan is. We get data constantly from 300 existing satellites, more than 11,000 ground-based, air-based, sea-based sensors, multiple internet data streams, and using artificial intelligence. All the information is combined. Visible light, infrared, all the other information that is brought in. So we can now accurately determine where the greenhouse gas emissions are coming from. And then we can just simply show up there, right, Jason?
Correct. Yeah. Al Gore, right?
Excuse me, sir. Your cows are farting too much. We're going to help you with that problem.
I watched a news show. It was I think it was like a noon in the middle of the day, the middle of the week in the 1990s. I think it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when somebody covered that story for the first time, that it was a CU campus here in Boulder was studying cow farting and destroying the ozone layer. And the guy broke up laughing so bad he could not continue with the news story.
Well, now in 2008, Al Gore said that there would be no polar ice caps left. Right, of course, they're still there. But he said next year we'll have it down to the level of a single power plant, a refinery, a large ship. Every plane, every waste dump will have the identities of the people who are responsible for each of these greenhouse emission streams. If investors or governments or civil society activists want to hold them responsible, they'll have the information they need, which they can base their actions and hold them responsible. Wow. It's always the plan. Does that sound like the plan? Hey, you know what? If you're using a gas-powered weed whacker, yeah, we're going to know it, right? We're going to show up to your house and teach you a lesson, right, Jason?
Yeah, that sounds kind of like the direction we're headed in. You know, do as we say, not as you want. You know, freedom is you're free within the confines of our little box we put you in. That sounds like it.
It truly is. I mean, and he's not wrong, right? We probably do have the technology to do it.
Yep.
We probably do. Every time you take a dump, they probably know.
Yes, Joe, absolutely. Yeah, I think there are technologies out there being withheld from us that would free humanity, but it doesn't enrich the bankers, Joe. So that's why they held back. I mean, I remember this is in the 1980s. I had an English teacher talking about this car design that was made, and it got 100 miles to the gallon on fossil fuels. And the oil companies bought it up, and it was never heard from again. Can you imagine if you got 100 miles to the gallon? That'd be pretty cool, Joe.
Well, yeah, you know, there's all those things. That how many things? Again, the governments pick what wins and what loses. Elon Musk got picked, right? He got picked to be the winner. How many people before Elon Musk had similar ideas, better ideas, different ideas? They didn't get picked. They picked the winners and the losers. When we get back, I need to talk about John Deere. So last week, Jason, we brought up the strike at John Deere. I shared with you the proposal, and again, I don't have all the facts, but what John Deere was saying, and I want to be clear on that because it was John Deere was saying what they were offering the union, and it sounded like a lot. But again, I have no reference or starting point or any other details. You know, it may be that may have been the offer for the guy that had been there for 20 years, and the guy that just got hired gets a much different offer. Who knows? They're always playing games like that. Then we told you, hey, the offer got rejected, and then Jason said, just a setup here, how much you want to bet John Deere's going to start producing things out of the country? Isn't that kind of what you said?
Yeah, I said, well, here's an offer. I would have said, well, if you're, in the economic situation we're in this country, it was a pretty good offer because the workers don't own the company. They rejected it. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, even if they accepted it, John Deere's getting ready to move this thing. That's what it seemed like, Joe. It's like this we've seen it over and over again.
So this weekend, there was an announcement about farmers running out of parts We're going to talk about that, and then today, what John Deere is thinking of doing next. 800-951-0592. Gold's up 9, 1826. Getting closer here to, remember, 1830. That is the level. We want to close above 1830. That's going to give us the next leg in the gold rise here. Just playing out exactly like we said. Once the taper was official, you're going to see the rally, and we've absolutely seen it here. Silver up another 30 cents, just below 24.50 right now. So 24.48, and again, silver, we're looking for 25. A close above 25 probably means $28 silver. Then, of course, we got to break 30, and then we're probably going to see $40 to $50 prices when that happens as well. But before the break, we're talking about the strike at Deere. John Deere, by the way, I think it's fair to note, all-time record high profits at John Deere. They have 12 factories and facilities in the United States. Just so you know, John Deere has 59 facilities outside the United States. It also bears mentioning they have 10,000 members of the United Auto Workers Union at John Deere. John Deere says that U.S. employment has fallen by 20% in the last 20 years. So to Jason's point, John Deere has been moving jobs overseas for quite some time. And now they said that after the latest rejection, by the way, it was the first offer John Deere made, 90% of the union rejected. This offer, it was 55-45. So a little closer. Seems like a deal could have been had here, Jason, right? Yep. You're at 55-45, a little kicker here, and the deal gets done. John Deere's decided, you know what? We've got these commitments that we want to live up to, and we are now going to look at importing products from our non-U.S. factories so that we can honor the commitments that we've made, and I'm assuming that's to the to their retail outlets and suppliers. But again, Jason, I think right on the head here. This is just another example of John Deere using this to shift more jobs somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just mathematics for these big companies. We have crony capitalism. We don't have true capitalism because you have a central bank. Central bank takes the free market system and makes it not so free. So when it comes to these big companies, it's just dollars in, dollars out. And I think a company like John Deere, is they'll lose a few percent, making sure that the American side of it is taken care of, which I think is your last offer you're talking about. And when they rejected it, I think they were saying, well, I mean, that we were already given more than we have to you guys. So let's just send it somewhere else where it's cheaper and the math works, Joe. And then unfortunately, that's where we're at.
And again, this is what they call free trade.
Yep.
And essentially, we've incentivized all of these companies to move jobs somewhere else. Do you blame the CEO and the CFO at John Deere? I mean, like Jason said, they're just doing a math problem. Right? Well, it cost X to produce this part here or this tractor here in the United States. It cost this much less to produce it and ship it from somewhere else in the world. Therefore, we're going to make more money by producing it somewhere else. And this is really what free trade really was all about. I mean, look at how well it's worked. As an example, I told you we've had these record trade deficits In terms of actual goods, the numbers are far, far worse. Free trade was really nothing more than the bankers wanting to sell credit cards to the Chinese and others. And when you look at the return on all of this, and I'll use last month. Last month's a great example. In terms of actual goods, products, so think about our ports. They ran a trade deficit just for a single month of almost $120 billion. They ended up with a trade deficit of about $90 billion. I want to say it was $96 billion. The difference, that $24 billion, is what they call in non-products, i.e., banking charges, right? Credit cards and, all those other things. So we sacrificed, think about this, we sacrificed $120 billion a month in goods producing to get about $25 billion for banking fees, Jason.
Yeah, I wish we could resurrect Andrew Jackson. He'd come into office, he'd kill the bank, and he would immediately impose tariffs on anything being brought into this country to reflect competition to local companies in this country. And there's your trade deficit. It'd be gone overnight, Joe. Just like that.
Yeah, made in America doesn't even mean anything anymore, does it?
No, well, not the way it's set up, because we don't charge tariffs to stuff coming in to compete, have our companies here in this country compete. So made in America doesn't mean anything because it can't compete. America moves it somewhere else to bring it in here cheaper, and then the government gives them favors to, we'll just keep it cheap because these are the guys that get me elected every week or every year.
Final segment coming up on this Monday News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Don't have a lot of product out there right now. Hopefully, I think as gold rockets past 1830 here, I'm hoping some more supply comes online. I've got 40 $10 Liberties at $1,060. That is that's our best price per ounce. It's actually $5 two $10 Liberties. $5 less than a $20 gold piece today at 800-951-0592. Gold's up 1826. Silver's up 34 cents now, $24.50. News breaking that Russia is not shipping extra gas to Europe. That was a promise that was kind of made a week ago. Apparently, Jason, I don't know, the Russians have decided, hey, we don't have enough gas in storage, no extra gas shipping to Europe. That's got prices moving, crude oil prices. Crude's up almost another $1 this morning. Natural gas prices are higher as well. I think, and again, I think this energy market, it's just getting started. I think things are going to get a lot worse and could get a lot worse really, really quickly as the early winter starts to set in. Something worth watching. And again, I think that inflation in the energy market is going to really be a catalyst, especially late 2021 and into 2022, Jason.
Yeah, and don't look at it as a listener. I wouldn't look at it as Russia versus Europe. That's not what this is. This is, once again, it's all numbers. You have an inflationary cycle that we're in, storing and keeping as much energy in your country as things are getting inflated price-wise. Well, this transitory word, I think, has everyone across the world think, well, is it ever going to stop? It should slow down somewhere. Everyone's, I think, going to sit there and think it's going to slow down or stop. So that would cause someone like Russia is like, oh, well, we'll just keep the spigot running the same way, and we're going to produce more and store it because it's more valuable holding it, Joe, than it is selling it at prices that continue to go up.
Yeah, and it's a simple choice. I think the Russians would be more than happy to sell all kinds at this price, but when they're looking at it and they're like, wait a minute, we don't have enough in storage for us. We need to store it, and of course, hey, we think the price is going to get a lot higher. So another incentive for them to store it, right? It's simple math, right? We talk about that. It's simple math.
And the simple question is, how bad is this going to get? Is why you start to hoard.
Yeah, and that's what happens. That's a great point. The psychology changes, and the fear starts rising, and all of a sudden, what you thought was enough isn't now. Right? Hey, wait a minute, that's not enough. I need double that now. And then you get to double. You get there, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not enough. I need double that, and this is that hoarding mentality really setting in. And then you look at anything that we've done from an energy perspective, whether it's the infrastructure bill or Biden closing down pipelines. This is a really a perfect storm that was self-created again. And Jason, I'll say perfect storm. Jason will say planned event. Right, Jason?
Yeah, planned event. I mean, I won't pretend that they planned every detail of these things, but the factors that cause it are definitely pre-planned in my mind.